Hi guys, welcome to the first of my back catalogue reviews. I'm starting today with Concussion starring Will Smith, which is directed by Peter Landesman. This is a story about Dr. Benito Malu, a brilliant neuropathologist who discovers a link between repeated brain trauma in pro footballers and CTE, problem that was causing people to go crazy, commit suicide, and despite everything that was being said at the time that there was no risks to these players, there was. And Will Smith's character, Benito Malu, fought the system for this to be known. This is a story about one man in a David versus Goliath situation where he's going up against one of the biggest companies in the world, a company so big it owns a day of the week. Football is the day that used to be reserved for the church, and they was not in a good place. He started telling people that these players were at risk. When the NFL hear that Malu is publishing papers and researching more into CTE, the NFL sees red. This is fighting talk to them, and they go all out to disprove and cover up everything that Benito Malu is finding. This movie is set in the early 2000s and follows the story over a number of years, and it's scary to think that something so recent that within the last 15 or 20 years, and these guys were sent out to play on the field every week, heralded by millions of fans across the world. They were basically putting themselves at risk. Will Smith stars as Benito Malu, a Nigerian neuropathologist who is very highly educated. And one of the tricky aspects of the role is the fact that he has to perform an accent. Now, accents can be very, very tricky, but after a couple of minutes of Will Smith actually on screen, you even forget that he's doing an accent. It seems so natural. He's supported by Albert Brooks and Alec Baldwin, both of whom give fantastic performances and add a lot to this story, which is quite a difficult story to tell. This film was released in the middle of the football season, and it's a story that the NFL couldn't have wanted anyone to know. The story itself draws similarities between what was being said by the NFL. No, our players are safe, they're not at any risk, we look after them, so on and so forth. Kind of like what the tobacco industry did, saying no, keep smoking, it's fine, you're not going to get cancer. Both were in a very similar situation where they didn't want to acknowledge, or were unwilling to acknowledge, these people are at risk. When I finished watching the film, I kind of wanted to know more about what was going on. This is a very personal story about Will Smith's character, but there must be so much more to this whole story, which obviously they can't tell. The film is quite heavy in places, but this is what you'd expect. But all in all, in my opinion, this film is very interesting. I really enjoyed this film. As I mentioned, Will Smith is absolutely perfect. Gives a knockout performance. This was a risky story to tell, and one that could have quite easily provoked a backlash from the NFL and NFL fans, but I think it's a story that needed to be told. I think it's a story that makes for interesting viewing, and because it is based on actual events, I think it's a story that will resonate with a lot of people. I'm going to give Concussion a solid 4 out of 5. Thanks for watching, guys. Something you could do for me if you don't mind, if there's any films you do want me to review, old or new, can you leave them in the comments down below, and I'll try and get to those as soon as possible. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and hey, why not subscribe while you're there, and I'll see you soon. Bye.